I'm going to try this again just to see if it might possibly work, and I'm just going to delete it if not. So you guys can let me know if anyone's in here, if you can see this, if it's working, if it's lagging, what's going on with that. I don't think anyone's in the room right now. I don't know. I wish I knew how to fix this or who to talk to get this fixed, because it's going to definitely suck for next week if we're still in this same situation. Okay, so let me know if this is any better, or if we're in the same situation, we'll just go ahead and delete this. So it's working fine? Okay, so I'm gonna go delete this other one here, because that was very terrible. Okay, so here we are again. I'm so sorry. Hi, Charlie. Hi, Elliot. Hi, Julie. Hi, Ben. I'm really hoping it works this time. I did nothing different, so I have no clue. I didn't try to fix anything. I just started a new one. Thanks. That's so wonderful. So I don't know why this has issues, but we'll try to move past them and just keep going. And let me know if we start having massive issues, and I'll just know to give up, and I will shut it down and we'll forget about it. So anyway, I forgot what we were talking about. I know we've lost some of the people who we had in the other room. That's okay. I think this is what we were talking about. We were trying to figure out how many men are left in the cast who could be potential victims for Under the Sheet. So we can only come up with 4, but last night someone said there were 5. So I think it's Nate, Connor, Asher. Now I've forgotten the 4th person. Nate, Connor, Asher. Who else? Okay, great. Hi, Marge. Thanks so much for being here. And yes, Elliot, How to Get Away with Murder is really good. You don't have that much to catch up on. Hi, Vanessa. So as far as the guys who could be under the sheet, Nate, Connor, Asher, Frank. And is there another one? Or is there anybody else we could think of? Because I guess anyone in the cast is up for grabs here. Wes. Okay. Wes, Nate, Frank, Asher, Connor. I think it's only 5, because I don't think they're going to consider any random men from the past seasons. Connor, Wes, Nate, Frank, Asher. Okay. So let's talk about these possibilities quickly. Asher, I just don't think has the shock value. I definitely think he's our survivor for next week, because I don't think anyone would care, not to be mean, but don't think anyone would care. So then let's go to Frank. Frank, to me, is a bit obvious because he said so much drama. So either they are doing all this drama, all this emphasis on Frank because he is dying this season, and they're giving him like as many episodes and shout outs and tributes as they can because he's off the show. Or they're trying to throw us off and focus on him and show him going off the rails because they want us to think it's him, but they'll shock us with someone else. Hi, Ralph. Thank you for being here. Hi, music lover. So to me, I don't know if we want to count this new guy, Simon. I don't feel like he should be counted because that would be the lamest thing ever if he's our dead person, because really and truly, no one would care. So I think Connor would have that shock value. I think Connor would be surprising. To me, the most shocking, sad deaths would be Connor and Wes. Now, I do think it could be sad about Frank, but we know a lot about his background and everything else. We saw him kill Lila. I don't know if he gets the sympathy from fans, and I don't really know how much sympathy he gets from the cast, except for Laurel and Bonnie. But anybody else, would they be super sad? I don't know. And then they could go this way. I mean, they could actually have Frank die and reveal that he was the baby's father. I mean, either way, if they have Wes die and he was the baby's father, or Frank die and he was the baby's father, they can up the dramatics at that point. So Marsh says, in some extent, Asher has shock value because no one's expecting him to die. Yeah, I mean, I agree. But I think for the fans and stuff, it's not as, the impact is just not there as it would be with a Wes death or a Connor death. I don't know. Ben really wants Connor to be safe because he's your favorite character. I know. I definitely want Connor to live. And I think Ralph is narrowing it down to Frank or Connor. Firkin says, think it has to be Wes or Frank because Annalise was really shocked and really sad about the death. And we all know she cares more about Wes than the others. Now, I personally don't think she would be super duper sad about Frank because she blames him for the death of her child. I mean, I'm not saying she wouldn't be sad at all, but I think she wouldn't be as devastated if we had, I think the most devastating person for her is Wes, besides the fact that she has this relationship with Nate, to be completely honest. But Charlie is bringing up the point that I was just saying, where it kind of seems like we're building up to a Frank death. We had pretty much an entire episode this week dedicated to Frank. They've done a lot to pay tribute to him in a way. And I guess one other thing that I should point out is that whoever does die, it's kind of like they don't really die, because Sam has been in the show a ton and he died in season 1. Julie says Annalise has shot herself, yes, so she could be just trying to cover things up. And that's the other thing that we don't know. How does this person die? They could be totally not related to the house fire at all. Maybe they were never even in the house. We can't assume, and nobody has, but we can't assume that they died in the house or they died because of burns or whatever. We don't know. So I don't know if she killed them. I don't know if, they killed themselves. There's so many. Right now, we don't have a scenario where somebody we know would be wanting to kill somebody else who's a guy on the show, Firkin thinks it has to be Frank because Wes and Laurel still haven't slept with each other and there's only 3 weeks left. But I don't know, in the timeline of the show, they may be in a different timeline than the timeline of when it airs, if that makes sense. So Marge thinks there's a 90% chance that Frank is going to be the one dying, and it doesn't seem that sad. She doesn't seem that sad. Okay, there's the other point. Now, when we saw her react to the body, she seemed very distraught and everything, but I'm not so sure if she wasn't acting there, because when we see her in the jail cell, we see her right after reacting. She seems to pull it together like really quick. And we've seen her have some really emotional scenes, and she, when she's really losing it and really upset, she doesn't just all of a sudden switch back to stone face Annalise. So maybe that's another hint for you. Hi, Rick. Thank you for being here. So who was Bonnie talking to? Good question. I think you asked that somewhere before and I missed it, or it disappeared when I tried to find it. So Bonnie is calling someone. I think we saw that in the last episode. And the way she's talking to this person definitely has that Frank vibe. And I think she was telling him, I think this was this episode, that Laurel was pregnant and that Laurel was rescued from the house. Now, who else would she be calling is the question of the people who are left. Would she be calling Nate? I don't think so. Would she be calling, well, now what about Asher? Would she be calling Asher? I'll throw that out there. Marge says, you've noticed something. Almost every episode is a tribute to one of the characters. Well, that's a great point. Last week it was Laurel, this week Frank, and it seems like Michaela will be the next main focus. Yeah, so maybe they're doing that in a way to throw us off. But we do know, as far as we know, that the female characters don't die. But they could throw in an extra death. We don't know about Laurel. I mean, she might die, but Julie has a really good point. Why would Wes? That's the other person. All right, so Bonnie was either talking to Wes or Frank because she made the statement that Laurel was pregnant. And you're right, it can't be Asher because he probably wouldn't care. So it seems like she's calling Frank, but maybe that's too easy and it's really Wes. I don't know. As Ben said, maybe she's calling Wes if he's the father. Maybe by the time we get to that scene, people know that Wes and Laurel are dating. Okay, and again, I don't really think that Laurel knows that she's pregnant at this moment, because she's not very far along, and I just don't think she knows. Could be wrong. But Ben says Bonnie always seems to know everything about their private lives. Anyway, yeah, she definitely does. But if he breaks up with Maggie and he's, dating Laurel, then people are going to be thinking, well, she's pregnant. He's got to be the dad, most likely. But they could also twist it around and say she's dating Wes at the time. And we could get to that in the show before this last episode. But it ends up being Frank's kid. So I don't know. They could twist it and spin it so many different ways. So we know we know Wes or Frank lives, but that's a tough one. I really think it's down to those two. I think one of them lives and one of them dies. That's personally what I think. So Charlie's asking how far along is Laurel. I think they said she was 4 weeks. But you have to think that the timeline of the show may not match up to the timeline of what we are watching. So we're waiting a week. Doesn't mean that they have times past just a week when we see them next, if that makes any sense. Julie says, but if it was Wes, why would that person ask who is the father? It seems like that's what they asked. Okay, so whenever you think they asked that question, what was her response to that? Because I don't remember. Did she say somebody's name? Music Lover says Carla, who Carla plays Laurel, said in an interview that even they don't know who the father is yet. Okay, well, that's actually very, very helpful because I hadn't seen that. So that's going to be a mystery for us for next season. But I think that statement proves that one of our death, I think that narrows us down. I really do. I think that's going to be part of the big drama. So it's going to be one of the dad is probably going to die. So I think it can only be Wes or Frank under the sheet because that's going to just up the drama because it could possibly be the baby's father. So Julie says that Bonnie said, she says, I don't know, let me handle that or something. So we really don't know what that person was saying. I do have a feeling we'll see the other end of that conversation by the time the show ends. And I'm agreeing with Marge that one of our cliffhangers will be who's the dad, especially if the dad's possibly dead, which I think that's where we're going at this point. So the flash forwards are 3 weeks before. Okay. So, well, then she needed to be pregnant in this way, she needs to be pregnant as of this week, right? But I don't know how they're going to interpret that. They could still have her hook up with Wes next week and then not have the timeline completely correct. But then I don't know how long ago she was with Frank, really, because he's been gone for a while, right? I don't know. Yeah, and that's the other thing that Marge is bringing up, and I was going to get ready to say, is that there could have been this Wes and Laurel hookup that they have failed to show us on purpose. And then when maybe even in the finale, when they say she's pregnant or we're wondering about who the dad is, they show that hookup or whatever. Or maybe I don't think she's hooked up with Frank recently, but maybe she has. I don't know. But you're right. Julie says she needed to have gotten pregnant this week's episode, but maybe, after she'd had that conversation with Wes, they hooked up later that night or something and they didn't show us and they're going to show us. I don't know. I don't see it being Asher though, or, Nate or anybody else. So I don't think it's going to be like a shocking person that she hooks up with. It could be the dad. I think the most shocking is what Wit Dog here is saying is that it's Wes's baby. And that's what I think it's going to be because most people are going to assume that it's Frank's. And maybe they didn't want to show us Wes and her hooking up because they want to keep that suspense. Right? So they hooked up in the staircase or in the bathroom right after they had that conversation. Maybe they went and got drunk together, just, hanging out and it happened. I don't know, but I have a feeling we'll see it, but later. So Julie says maybe she did, and that's why Wes wants to break up with Maggie. That's the other thing. Maybe they had a hookup. Maybe she regrets it. Maybe she was drunk, or maybe she felt bad about it because she's still in love with Frank and she's just trying, because it did seem kind of weird that he kind of assumed that she would definitely want to, start dating and he should break up with Maggie. That makes the most sense that they've already hooked up and he had these feelings like, I need to break up with my girlfriend. And he assumed she was definitely going to be his new girlfriend. And she was like, no, I don't know. But I know they have a history. They did have a history last season. So, I still think, yeah, Ben says maybe they got drunk on the casino night. I don't know. I definitely think, though, it's had to have happened, but they didn't tell us on purpose, and that they will give us a flashback of sorts with that. So yeah. So strange. Okay, I'm hoping to be back. Am I back? Am I back? Oh, can you see me? Seriously. Oh my God. Seriously. It was going so well. Well, I don't want to mute that. I don't know. I should be coming back. Hold on. Oh, I'm back. Okay, good. I was like, it looks like I'm back, but I don't know if you guys can see me. Really sorry. Have no idea why this keeps happening. Hello again. Yes, so we were on a roll. We were having such a good conversation. Let me go back up here and look at the comments if I can see some that are relevant to our conversation. Was Wes there at the casino night? Asked Charlie. I don't remember. I feel like he was, but I'm not sure. Can anybody remember? Yes, actually, I think that's, I think I always blamed Marlene, Julie, but now I think Shonda's, I'm gonna have to blame her. I have nothing against Shonda though, so you know, who knows? So Music Lovers asked me about the reveal of Simon being the person putting up the flyers. I definitely think there's more to it. I don't really enjoy the fact that he was the one doing it because that's lame to me, but I think that there's definitely more to it. I'm a little surprised we didn't get the rest of that story because to me that's just like not even that important of a storyline. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he is connected to Mahoney. I don't know if he's connected to any of her past enemies, and there are so many, but I definitely think he is connected in some way. So apparently Marlene cuts Julie off sometimes too. It's really funny because during American Horror Story, I swear it never happens, and just certain shows like this one, it's really weird. Yeah, because Simon was, you don't just be, you're not that angry and say stuff like she's a killer unless you know more about her. Or, I mean, that's just not, you don't do that because you know, don't really like her as a teacher. I mean, that's hardcore. So I do think we'll get an answer to that this season. And I really think they could have done it last night since they went ahead and revealed him, but that's fine, you know. So I guess we have just 3 episodes left, right? But I do think it was lame, but maybe when they explain his motivation, it'll be a little less lame. I don't know. Now, Vanessa says maybe Oliver was really the person who put up the flyers and is setting up Simon. Now, that would be amazing. And we know Oliver has the capabilities to hack into someone's computer. I mean, that's what he does. So I would like that. Julie thinks Simon needs to die. I'm fine with him dying. Like, I don't think he's going to be under the sheet, but he's a useless character. No one likes him on the show. He can just go. I mean, Michaela had such an amazing scene telling him off last night, so whatever. Bergen thinks he was just jealous, but I definitely think there's more to it than that because, I mean, I think Annalise at this point thinks he's just like a little sad person, but I think there's more to it. Charlie says, wondering if someone is bribing Simon to do this, maybe one of the DA people as he is seriously lacking motive. There has to be more to it. Like, I'm going to be disappointed in this show if they don't ever mention him again or, you know, whatever. I just feel like, you know, there has to be more to it. So apparently Ben says Wes wasn't at the casino. But that still doesn't mean that after the casino, she called him up or they hooked up or something, you know, who knows when they hooked up, but it could have happened like anytime. And the other thing is someone paying Simon to destroy Annalise's reputation? As Music Lover is asking, we do have this crazed president who seems to just really want the worst things to happen to Annalise. So maybe she's behind it. I really have no idea. Firkin's asking if I think Connor and Oliver will come back together. I really think so, unless Oliver does end up being a villain of sorts. I've said that a few times and it makes people mad, but I still think that he's shady and he could be having some weird motives, and I still don't understand why they broke up. I feel like there's more to it. Some people have their own explanations about why they broke up, and those have I've appreciated the people who've shared that with me, and they're not anything about manipulation or killing people or anything shady. It's just about okay, I think I might be coming back. Okay. I think I'm trying to get back, but yeah, it's either Shonda or it's the hackers or it's just YouTube in general. I have no idea. Marge is looking forward for an Oliver background episode. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Vanessa says maybe Simon is the president's son. Am I back yet? I really hope so. Which I think is I like that idea. And I saw Julie saying that there's no random people on this show, and I absolutely agree with that. Wit Dog says, do I feel the tension between Annalise and the president of the school? Several times I felt like one of them was going to make a move. Oh, like sexual attention? Maybe, this show, who knows? Like, you just never know where they're going. I mean, it seems like this woman hates her, but maybe sometimes when people are attracted to the other person, they act like they dislike them because maybe they don't know if they're going to like them back. So yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Or maybe she has tried to hook up with her in the past and got rejected, like the president. And so now she's just like, well, I don't want her at my school. Is like, I know she's a new character this season, but I don't know if she's a new president. I don't remember if they said. Music Lover feels like Oliver is so clueless. He's still idolizing Annalise. He was feeling bad for Annalise in this episode, and the K5 were just like giving him looks. Yeah, I mean, I can't figure out with him if he's just like this actually super sweet guy who's a bit confused himself and who shouldn't have broken up with Connor, or if he's actually like one of the most sinister people on the show. I can't figure it out. But I don't see President Woman and Annalise being a relationship. Julie says Eve and Annalise forever. And honestly, I think that Eve has been the best type of partner for Annalise because I think she really does care about her. And Annalise doesn't seem to get as crazed and out of control about that relationship. She really doesn't do well with Nate, and she did not do well with Sam. And I know Sam had a lot of other issues, including cheating on her. But I think that Eve is like a really good match for her, I saw Luke in the room. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Louise. I'm getting all kinds of new people in here. Let's hope I stay on. So Esther doesn't understand why Oliver loves his job. I want there to be more on him because I've fought it for so long that there's just something going on, especially with this Connor breakup. But Vanessa thinks the president is married, and who knows, though? I don't know if she's married to a man or a woman, but people cheat on these shows all the time and in real life. I'm not condoning it, but I'm just throwing that out there. Marge says Frank killing Mahoney makes sense, some weird way to avenge Annalise. It does make complete sense, but I was just thinking we were going to get something more shocking there because we saw that he was at the scene and everything, and it was pretty much in our faces, and I was like, this show is never surface level, so I don't know. Yeah, I love Eve. I think, for Annalise, she's the best. I don't think that Nate is a terrible person or anything, although I am confused why he's hooking up with this lawyer woman who seems awful. But some people think he has an ulterior motive there, so I don't know. Luke thought Eve was going to die under the sheet at first, but I know a lot of people thought that, but now we know for sure she's not. But she's just not on the show a lot. Wit Dog thinks that the president likes her, and that's why she's hard on her, yet worried about her. But Eve, you love Eve, okay? Paperlap says, what do I think about Bonnie and Frank? Well, that scene was sad for me in a way because Bonnie is like a very... what do you say? She's like I can't think of the right word. She's been through so much. She's had this abusive father, and she gets really tied into these males that she's like, with Sam. I think she was in love with Sam, and she got really hurt by him. And I think really I've always felt like there was something going on with Frank, whether or not they'd hooked up in the past. It kind of seemed like they had. But I think that she is in love with him as well. And I think she was just crushed when he disappeared the next day. Vanessa thinks that Bonnie and Frank would be a good match. They've been through similar situations, terrible childhoods. Yes, 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 yes. Wit Dog says, do I really think Bonnie thought they were going to run away together? Yeah, I really think she was buying into it. I mean, she was trying to play it cool and act like she didn't really care and that was never going to happen. But then she came back the next day all happy and he was gone. And I think she was really, really crushed because it's kind of a pattern of stuff that's happened in her life where she can't trust men and she does trust some and then they screw her over, stuff like that. I felt really bad for Laurel in that situation because she kept texting, wanting information about Frank, and Bonnie was screwing him basically and was lying. And I mean, I know that they're not great friends or anything, but that's the worst when you are, trusting someone to give you information about someone you care about and they are double crossing you basically and lying to you. But I agree with Julie that Bonnie is someone who needs someone. She's very needy, even though she acts all tough and everything. And she doesn't really have that one person in her life. She has Annalise, and she's very, you know how she acted when she thought Annalise was like dismissing her or whatever. That was when Bonnie, like, you know, the actress who plays her needed to get like an Emmy, because that was like the performance of a lifetime. But yeah, but I mean, I had trouble feeling sorry for Bonnie in that moment, because she knows how much Laurel cares about Frank, and she doesn't care, you know? Vanessa says next season Bonnie might hook up with Nate. Honestly, she would hook up, I think, with anyone who showed her some attention and acted interested, and she would probably think they were like seriously gonna be together forever, because that just seems like the person that she is. Bonnie does need an Eve in her life, and she needs someone who doesn't want to use her, that's like gonna be there for her. But as far as the people in this cast, I don't see that happening. However, like Asher, I think, really did care about her, but she got all freaked out because she blames him for a rape that he didn't commit. And she kind of ended that. Like, I think he would have been there for her and stayed with her, but she can't let that go. She brought that up this season as well. And I know that was a terrible situation, but I feel like she's too hard on him, you know? I think Nate is someone you just can't trust. I don't know what his deal is, but at the same time, and we're going to wrap this up pretty soon, because I mean, we're just talking like crazy here. But at the same time, I think that Nate has been screwed over so many times by Annalise that she deserves some of this crap. And it's not shocking that he's hooking up with someone else, because wasn't she hooking up with Eve at the same time? I don't know. So there's just so much drama here. Bye, Charlie. Thank you so much for being here. So much drama. I'm not sure what you're saying, Paper Lap. Maybe someone can translate. Birkin says, I mean, why would he betray Annalise? Either break up with her or stay with Annalise. I feel like Nate and Annalise are broken up at this time. Oh, look, Birkin's speaking that language. What language is that? Dutch? I don't know. Luke says, I think whoever set the house on fire did it on purpose. Yes, and I've had people say, like, in these chats, that maybe Annalise set her house on fire. I don't know if she did. I really hope she wasn't intending to kill Laurel. I mean, but Julie says Annalise needs to come out. Well, I mean, it's obvious she's bisexual, and I guess, I don't know if she wants that to be like a secret, or she just doesn't care or doesn't feel the need to tell people, or doesn't think people need to know. So I don't know. Maybe she's like, I don't care, but she's so busy. Oh, German. Okay. See, I'm sorry. That's good though. I'm glad you can communicate with Paper Lap up there. But you know, I just feel like she doesn't care, because she's always got somebody. So it's not like she needs to announce it, because she's not looking for new people, because they seem to always find her. Okay. So she asked if anyone here was from Germany. Oh, very cool. Okay, awesome. Well, that's so cool. All right. What if Annalise paid someone to start the fire to kill Frank, but someone else died, and that's why she's upset? Okay, I like that. What if Wes died and she intended for Frank to die? I think that's a really good thought. So I think we're going to wrap it up here, because I think we went an extra 10 minutes, which kind of made up for the first chat, but disappeared or just, you know, fell apart. But I just want to tell you guys, if you are just now seeing me and you have not subscribed, please do. I would really appreciate that. I'm trying to get to 5,000 now, which is amazing for me anyway. Makes me happy. And my video with my in-depth thoughts about this episode will be up tomorrow. And this video, I got rid of the first chat that was just disastrous, so don't worry about that. But this chat will be up on my channel, because I know some people got into it late because we had to restart it. So if you missed anything, you want to go back, you can. You can also leave your comments on here, and I'll come back later tonight and reply to you guys. But I just want to thank you so much for sticking with me and coming to a second chat room. Oh, well, thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. And that's been crazy for me, because I've gotten a lot of new people looking at my channel because of American Horror Story, and because of Julie, because Julie linked my American Horror Story theory video, and I really appreciate it. And I can't thank you enough. A lot of people from your channel came to me, which is so nice. And I hope that I can return the favor, even though I know you have more subscribers than me. Yeah, I can have a 5K chat, sure. But I just want to thank you, Julie, and thank everyone else for always supporting me. I see a lot of the same people in here all the time, and I know there's a couple of new people, and that makes me so happy. And thank you so much, because otherwise I'd be sitting here talking to myself. So I cannot do this without your support. So hope you guys have a great weekend, and check out my video tomorrow. But bye, guys. Love you guys. Bye.